On your Tuesday episode of Locked On Raptors, a pair of wild, almost basketball games against the Celtics and Wizards saw Scottie Barnes make some baby steps towards looking all right. And of course, some beautiful end-of-game shot making by the one and only clutch player of the year in the making, Jonathan Mobo.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is Tuesday, October the 14th. Welcome back from the long weekend. Hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. And I am your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Toronto Raptors now for 12 seasons on various platforms. You can find all my work over on Blue Sky. You can find the show on Instagram. You can join us in the Locked On Raptors Discord server. Link in the description of the podcast. Come hang out. Great place to be to talk ball among friends. On today's show, we are going to get into a pair of last-second victories for the Toronto Raptors over the weekend, taking down the Boston Celtics B team with Jonathan Mobo scoring the game winner, and then Olivier Sarr vanquishing his inferior brother Alex Sarr and the Washington Wizards on Sunday night. We'll get into our takeaways from those games. Scottie Barnes with a not-so-good start to his second preseason game that sort of settled into a pretty solid overall outing on both ends of the floor. We'll get into Gradey Dick finding his groove, the good, the bad, and the all that good stuff. And today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. And we'll get started by bringing in our pal, Vivek Jacob, Big V from Raptors in 7. How the hell are you, my friend? Preseason hoops, baby. It's a rush.
It is. I'm enjoying it, man. I am happy to have basketball back. I am happy to have some early takes. I'm happy to, take in a bit of Chucky Hepburn that I know we're going to get into. But I'm enjoying it all. Obviously, the only part we're not enjoying right now is the Toronto Blue Jays trailing 2-0 to the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that today. Thank you for reminding me. I've been trying to repress my feelings on that to start the morning, and I've been doing a pretty good job until you just open your gob. Let's carry on here and get into the weekend that was, again, a 107-105 thrilling victory over the Boston Celtics, a crazy second half comeback in a game played by none of the Raptors players who are probably going to play heavy minutes outside of Gradey Dick, and the bench guys got in there for some run. And then, of course, the game on Sunday against the Wizards, you get the finish by Olivier Sarr at the rim, some beautiful late game play design by Darko Rajakovic, and all kinds of broad takeaways to be taken from these two games, which were ragged preseason ass basketball games. Let's start with the guy who matters the most for this team. Arguably, at least the guy who played in these games over the weekend. Brandon Ingram did not play. We didn't see Jakob Poeltl. We saw Quickly and RJ just in the Wizards game. But Scottie Barnes played in that Wizards game as well in his second action in the preseason, coming off that 0-for-6 in his first game that had everyone feeling very, very feeling-y about his lack of offensive force and his mid-range dependence and all that stuff. And he didn't exactly do much to dissuade the concerns early on in this game against the Wizards. Eventually settled in. I thought there was some pretty good stuff that we saw as this one progressed from him, but overall impressions of Scottie Barnes' second preseason game, did it do anything to quell your concerns about Scottie heading into the games that matter next week?
I think if you take what he did from the second quarter onwards, where we saw a lot of the defense, the scoring, the playmaking, and scoring in the way that you kind of want to see him score, I think if you take that and put it in the first quarter, and you take what happened in the first quarter and put it in the rest of the game, then everyone's feeling pretty good.
Sure.
And I think, this season having real expectations, this season, a lot of it being down to like how are things going to fit and all of that. We want to see that early. We haven't seen the starting five play together yet. Jakob Poeltl hasn't played a single game. And so I think, when you get those little opportunities that Scottie's out there and Ingram's out there or IQ's out there, or RJ's out there, you kind of want to see things click right off the bat. And yeah, I think that first quarter, it just seemed a pretty casual approach And when you're seeing quickly play with intensity and really look to be assertive and shoot threes and whatnot, you're seeing RJ kind of be RJ. Then that's when you're like, Scottie, can you like be Scottie right now?
Sure. Yeah, look, I totally understand that a lot of people are concerned about the sort of flightiness of Scottie Barnes in these games at times, his propensity to go in and out. I also am just not going to be concerned until we see it take place in regular season games for a prolonged stretch. And I know I'm just like the happy-go-lucky hacky sack kicking teacher at school who's not giving anyone detention, not getting mad at anybody when they're not going to class on time. I know that's me, but also like I cannot get up to the level of like fervor that it feels like the Scottie Barnes conversation has reached in broader corners of the fan base. And I don't think it's just the loud people on the internet. I think it is like a sort of growing through line of the way the team gets talked about is like, what's going on with Scottie? And like, yeah, if this continues into the regular season, sure, all kinds of problems. I still continue to think once they're playing games that matter, he's always been a guy who, when the team is trying to be competitive, he locks in pretty comfortably. And I just like I don't have it in me to be terribly concerned. He was also a plus 22 in this game, for what it's worth. And I do think as the game progressed and he got out of that first quarter, there was a lot of stuff process wise that I liked from Scottie Barnes in this game, and that even includes some stuff from the mid range. And I know that like it's become this thing now too, where every time Scottie takes a mid-range shot, the entire crowd gasps and it's like, oh, he did it again. And it's just like, it's got to be part of his game. It's going to be part of his game, especially if they're going to use him in the way we saw him used for long chunks of that Wizards game where he was working from the elbows. He was trying to get good position. I thought he was pretty intentional about getting the ball in those elbow positions and trying to make stuff happen, get to his quick jump shots. We had the one turnaround that maybe wasn't the most advised shot, but I thought a lot of the mid-rangers he took in this one were like in that free throw range where I'm completely comfortable with Scottie Barnes taking mid-rangers. And if they're going to use him as a hub, it's a shot he's going to have to use and have it be effective for him. And we saw teams are scared when Scottie Barnes has the ball at the nail. There was a sequence, one of his assists in this game, his really nice one to Mamu underneath the basket, was entirely the result of he has the ball at the nail. He makes one dribble going to his right. The help defender comes and steps up for a split second. As that happens, Mamu cuts underneath. Easy dish underneath for a gimme for Mamu. A really nice read from Scottie. Like those are the reads that Scottie's excellent at. And the mid-range is just going to have to be a part of how he gets those reads in front of him. And so I have no problem with him doing some work from the elbows. Yes, he should probably try to power his way to the rim more often. Back dudes down. Don't lean on the turnaround as the first thing. But I do think there was plenty to look at in this game that was like, okay, like he was, let me put it this way. First game, he had no idea where he wanted the ball. I thought there was a little bit more intentionality to where he was looking for the ball and how he was trying to make things happen in this game. I don't know if you have any thoughts further expanding on the stuff you did like from Scottie on offense in this game, Big B. I thought there was a few things we can kind of point at, but do you have anything for on your end that you liked?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the good stuff, the stretch where he was like full out Scottie and kind of showcasing that full all around game, like the defense was there. I thought, there was pushes in transition that we love to see Scottie in, and yeah, as you mentioned, like operating in a calculated way, in the high post, whatever it may be. Like I think those are great opportunities for him. Or they'll have to at least become great opportunities for him. I think one thing we'll be looking for this season is the efficiency, and obviously, you know, offensively, he hasn't proven yet to be a highly efficient player. And so I think that's something that's going to have to come along, and maybe that's some of the frustration that comes with, you know, taking those shots that we can generally see him being able to take at any time in the shot clock. And so, yeah, I think shot selection is going to be a big thing this season. And, you know, it's going to come down to that calculus, right? It's like, hey, do we want a Scottie mid-range here where it's like helping him get in a flow, as you mentioned, and allowing him to operate in those areas of the floor? When is the time to do that? You know, when you've got Brandon and quickly on the floor, when you've got RJ's ability to, you know, get to the paint and make some stuff happen, that's when you got to find that balance, right? And that
Mhm.
fit in the starting unit. And so I think that's going to be the calculus when we have all these conversations about fit and, everyone getting to touch the rock, everyone getting to, showcase the best of themselves. I think for Scottie in that starting five, I don't think there's going to be a lot of room for him to take, say, for example, uh, 3, 4 mid rangers in the first quarter.
Sure. Yeah, it's going to be a process of finding balance. And look, we've seen him play with Ingram once for a half. We've seen him play with Pirtle and the rest of the starting five 0 times in this preseason. We are a long way from this integration process being finished. And I know people don't like having to wait for things. We like instant gratification. We want to see, oh, this is exactly what it's going to look like in the regular season. You're probably not going to get that in the preseason. Maybe you'll get it in one of these final 2 preseason games against Boston and the Nets. That'd be great. I just don't think you can bank on seeing that. It'd be nice to see a little stretch where everyone gets to play together and flow off one another. I do think there's a lot they can do with Scottie playing from the high post, like we talked about. Just the cutting and the shooting that they'll be able to throw on the floor around him, especially with Mamu on the floor. Like, I'm liking the Scottie Mamu pairing quite a bit. You'll see how it holds up defensively, but I think Scottie's as good as anyone to pair with Mamu to try to cover for his defensive deficiencies. I think there's a lot of stuff they can do. They just haven't had the runway to really do it yet. And again, baby steps. It was a much better looking game than his first game of the preseason, which I think is kind of all I was looking for. And yeah, he's going to have to make shots eventually. Like, yes, this is a big part of it. You can get all the shots with good process you want. Eventually the shots got to go in. I feel reasonably comfortable that a guy who last year shot 45% from short mid-range, 68th percentile per clean the glass, 40% from long mid-range, and has always been a pretty solid long mid-range shooter. Like, I feel like those shots are going to come around and not be total bricks like they have been so far to start the
Yes,
preseason either. And
he should be better than 3 for 17 that we've seen in preseason.
One would think that he eventually will be. And if he's not, then yeah, 17% is not going to cut it. He has not shot 17% at any point during his career, last I checked. And so, yeah, I'm not looking at the preseason sustainability or lack thereof of a really, really crooked shooting line so far. Yeah, like he's just, yeah, it'll come along. I think we'll see the sort of integration process further take steps as time goes on and they get more run together. We'll come back on the other side here, Big V, a guy who looked really good over the weekend, especially in that Friday game where he kind of was the dude for the Raptors. Gradey Dick finding his groove. We'll talk about that and what that means coming up in just one sec. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. And right now, it's perfect time to go and check out FanDuel, see what they have to offer, because right now their offer is a pretty sweet one. All you got to do is bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win, right along with the start of the NFL season. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. We're at a point now where the season's trudging along a little bit. Maybe there are teams you feel like you have a good handle on who you think, hey, this $5 bet, I'm a surefire win on this one because I know this team is going to win or lose. Maybe you just bet on the Tennessee Titans to lose. My old team that I have lapsed fandom for, they stink. They fired their coach yesterday. They're probably not going to win many games from here on out. If you just bet on them to lose with your $5 bet, you get $300 in bonus bets straight away. That is pretty sweet. Makes watching football even more exciting, even when you got a little bit of something riding on the action. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. That's FanDuel.com to download the app and get $300 in bonus bets with the first $5 bet that hits. Today's show is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have a full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That is where Monarch Money comes in. It's an all-in-one personal finance command center that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. I've talked about it plenty on this show. I hate doing life admin. It sucks. I don't enjoy it whatsoever. I'm not very good at it. I barely understand money. Yet we all have to have money to do our lives and stuff. And so Monarch Money can make it so that admin is a little bit easier for you to navigate day to day. You don't have to go and remember a million passwords and card numbers and all that stuff. All of it is just in one place. You can see where your money's going and how you're saving, how you're not, where you can save money on the margins. It's all there for you to go and peruse. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com, with the code LOCKEDONNBA. Back at it here, talking preseason hoops, baby. We're just 9 days away from opening night. And a reminder that on opening night, October 22nd, I'll be hosting a watch party at Last Supper Books in Hamilton, 148 James Street North. Going to be a ton of fun. Come hang out. We're going to do a little book exchange as well. So if you have a basketball book you've read, bring it, and you'll leave with one you haven't read. Isn't that swell? We'd love to see you come out. I'll put the link for the RSVP form in the description of the podcast if you want to get your name in there. Limited space, so please be sure to get signed on up. Very much looking forward to that. Big V, Gradey Dick, finding his groove a little bit over the weekend in that game on Friday against the Celtics. He plays 24 minutes to lead the team. Second behind, of course, the new best player on the team, Chucky Hepburn. 24 minutes, 8 of 13 from the field, 3 of 5 from downtown, 3 of 6 from the line, 6 boards, an assist, a steal, 22 points. A nice outing from Gradey Dick, who looked a little rough in that first preseason game or first couple preseason games, I guess. And he just, really seemed to, I guess he was good in the second one. It was one bad preseason game. Man, oh man, do we like to overreact to things. He was good though. What were your impressions of Gradey Dick, who, some stuff happened with the ball in his hands, making live dribble reads. That's always exciting. Didn't get the assists on a couple of them because guys brick shots, but hey, that's the preseason, ain't it? Overall impressions of Gradey Dick as he seems to really be settling in.
Yeah, it's really good to see him, find his groove. I think what was encouraging for me was watching the start of that Celtics game. I felt like his approach was really good. And what I mean by that is if you watched him on the defensive side of the ball, he was very engaged on the glass. And I thought he was really trying to help out on the boards. And then I think he tried to be active on the offensive glass too. There were a couple of times where he was able to poke the ball away. There were a couple of times he was able to get the offensive rebound and get the Raptors extra possessions. And I just liked seeing that level of engagement. And it's the type of thing where it's like, I'm not going to worry about his shot as much as I am like just seeing him be out there, be as competitive as he can be as physical as he can be, because obviously that's an area where it's almost like he has to try and overcompensate just to be passable, right? So I think that was like the encouraging start. And then we see the third quarter, all of a sudden he kind of puts the Raptors on his back and is just making shot after shot after shot. And they're able to cut a 27-point deficit down to 10 going into the fourth. And that opened the door for the Raptors to make a comeback. And so very, very happy that Gradey Dick has found the range.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. He's going to have to eventually start to make good on the, lights out shooter sort of distinction he had coming out in college. And it's not that he hasn't been a pretty solid shooter. He's been on a very difficult diet of shots. He's been 35, 36%. That is not a bad thing by any means, but just the impact he can have if he is a 38, 39, 40% guy on the volume of shots he takes. And I think it's there for him, man. Like he has the shooting talent to be that level of shooter, especially playing on a team that in theory he's going to get some easier looks than he has in the past mixed into the difficult ones he's always going to be able to get off as well. Like, I think it's there for him. And if it is, I mean, he just becomes such a dynamic and fun offensive player to throw into a bunch of lineups to just kind of add a little extra pop, right? A little extra. It's like putting a little lime zest on your food. Just like, oh, okay, Gradey Dick, let's go. Really has ratcheted this thing up. The defense obviously is always going to be the limiting factor, but he can mitigate that if he is crashing the offensive glass, if he's being as much of an impactful offensive additive to the team that, you can kind of get by with the defensive stuff. I feel like we get into this sort of trap with guys where it's like, everyone has to be a two-way player. Everyone has to be balanced. Everyone has to give something on both ends of the floor. And that'd be great, be amazing. And in the playoffs, certainly that is more of a thing that you need. But walking before we can run here, man. And I think, he has it within him to be a good enough offensive player to make it so you can live with the defensive stuff that is just going to always be part of his game. I'm curious for you, Big V, like, how good does Gradey need to be for you on defense for you to feel like he's on the right track to being a productive NBA player, like long term, right? Like, I think how good he is on offense has like a direct relation to how much you need from him on the defensive end, right? Like he can tip the skills to be more of an offense heavy guy and get by with rough defense if he's that good on the other end. But I don't know, like we talk about being a passable defender. What does Gradey Dick passable defender look like to you?
I think it's all relative to the roster, right?
Yeah.
Like if he's if he's in a backcourt with Drew Holiday and Derek White, then you're saying, yeah, absolutely, he's passable. If he's
Sure.
in a backcourt with Quickly and RJ, then it's a little more difficult.
Yeah.
So I think it's all relative to who he's out there on the floor with. He's not going to be in the starting five. So is he going to be out there on the court more with Jamal Shed and Jacoby Walter or Ochai Abaji? Again, I think that makes the extent to which he has to be productive on the defensive side a little bit more manageable. And so I think it all comes down to that. It all comes down to who he's out on the court with. And we know those blow-bys will probably still happen to a certain degree. And so what's the rim protection around him like? And so I think those are the key factors that I'm looking at least coming into this season. And, coming to the offense, I think minimum 38% from beyond the arc, and doing some of the all-around things that he's done. Yeah, I think he is hideable enough, and then we have to see what areas he's genuinely improved in defensively.
I do think a thing I'd like to see him, and I'd like to see the coaching staff kind of put upon him, is just like he is a smart he understands like the way possessions develop, I think, on defense. Like, again, he's not the most athletic guy in the world. He's not staying with guys toe to toe, in ISO defense, but I do think he has it in him to be like a pretty damn good passing lane hawk. And I do wonder if maybe that's something they emboldened him to do a little bit, kind of like what they did with Gary Trent Jr., right? Where like, yeah, you're a pretty bad on ball defender anyway. And so like, might as well get risky here and like see if you can do some event creation stuff. Of anyone on the team, I mean, look, a lot of these guys are going to try to poke steals in sort of the we're on your up in your shirt and we're trying to poke the ball away type of deal. Like that's not going to be Grady's method of forcing turnovers. I feel like him as more of a rotational defender who can hawk passing lanes at opportune times and just get bailed out on the back end the way he's probably going to have to get bailed out anyway if he's playing traditional on-ball defense. I think would be a thing I'd like to see him try to do, just to add something to his defensive profile that helps turn things into offense and get the offense flowing. But yeah, nice to see from Gradey Dick. I think, any concern that he was going to like lose his spot in the rotation after the first game have been comfortably quelled, and he is seemingly figuring into that 6-man role pretty comfortably for this team. We're going to come back on the other side here. Big V will run through the good, the bad, and the from the couple of games over the weekend. Lots to choose from here on both ends, as preseason basketball gives you lots of fun stuff and lots of nasty stuff to talk about. We will get to that coming up in just one sec. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with a brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's the most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools to help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. I've talked about it before. Exercise has always been a bit of a challenge for me because I just don't want to do it a lot of the time, and I need to gamify it if I'm going to really commit to it. And Peloton allows you to do that. You have all the set workouts. You've got all kinds of ways to compete against yourself, which is a wonderful thing. Of course, you get personalized class recommendations to keep you engaged, workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. It's a wonderful thing if you're trying to get in shape and you want to do it from home. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Wrapping things up here with the good, the bad, and the The way we wrap up every single episode of this here podcast on the heels of a Toronto Raptors basketball game, a thing we liked, a thing we didn't like, and a thing that's got us a little bit intrigued. I almost got it through there. Damn. A thing that's got us a little bit intrigued from the latest in Toronto Raptors basketball, as I have to go work on my auctioneering skills. Big V, let's again, broad canvas to choose from here over the weekend. 2 games, lots of weird stuff, lots of guys playing. What was your good from the weekend that was?
Well, first off, your is in regular season form, so
Why, thank you very much. I thought the hey off the top of the show was also in mid-season form as well.
yeah, yeah,
Had to put a little extra mustard on that after 3 days off for the long weekend. Got to give the people all that hey.
there you go, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in terms of the good, I am gonna go with Mr. Chucky Hepburn.
There you go.
He was pretty impressive, I thought, in the minutes that he got. I think, you know, in terms of the defense, we kind of know what to expect, and he can be this ball hawk and like getting passing lanes and like really be a pest. And so that's always a positive. What's been surprising to me is the confidence he's shown in the 3-point shot and the fact that he's knocking it down so far. We're going to have to see a lot more to believe it's real. But hey, he's 7 of 15 from beyond the arc so far. And in particular, there was one pull-up 3 in transition that I was kind of like, whoa, didn't think you had the confidence to do that. But here we are.
I believe, and I quote from that monologue from Big V: "Move over, Jamal Shed. Chucky Hepburn is the backup point guard." It's you heard it here first on Locked On Raptors. Yeah, that's a great one. Mine is a late game play design, baby. 2 wins at the buzzer after Darko Rajakovic drew some good stuff up. Kind of similar situations in both games. It wasn't quite the lob that they drew up for Sarr in the second game that we saw with Mobo in the first. They just kind of got Mobo headed towards the rim, made a nice well-timed cut, made a nice catch, and then like a beautiful spin move underneath the basket to get it up and in. You love to see that, baby. Johnny Mobo just doing the thing. Interior scoring. He's kind of doing it in the preseason, Big V. I love to see it. It's great. And then, yeah, I mean, you dropped that beautiful lob for Sarr at the end of the Wizards game. Look, I don't think it's ever been in question that Darko Rajakovic can draw some stuff up. He is someone who has all kinds of fun, nifty play designs that the Raptors have gone to in the past. And I'm excited to see in close games that the Raptors are, in fact, trying to win and not benching their good players down the stretch for what he can draw up with a full complement of guys, including Brandon Ingram and the rest. Or maybe they'll just do the Dwayne Casey, DeMar DeRozan crunch time offense where it's just DeMar, do stuff, don't turn it over one way or another. We'll see. But yeah, it was nice to see some fun late game stuff drawn up by Darko. The Raptors, clutch kings, baby. Are they going to be the best clutch team in basketball? Probably. The bad, what you got for your bad in this one?
Yeah, so I mean, nothing like stood out as overtly bad across these 2 games. So I am just gonna go with CMB getting hurt, man. Like,
yeah, it sucks.
That's the one thing you just don't want to see in these preseason games. We don't have official word on the extent of the injury. We just know it's a bruised elbow, and it's been feeling kind of funky for him, and they're getting more testing done. Thankfully, the X-rays were negative, but we just gotta kind of wait and see. And yeah, just hope he's okay.
Yeah, I am perfectly okay if we don't see Collin Murray-Boyles for the rest of the preseason. I saw more than enough in the games he did play to suggest to me that dude's ready to contribute right away. 9 days between now and opening night. Hopefully they can give him some rest there, and all is good when the season rolls around next week. But yeah, you don't like to see that whatsoever. My bad. And look, I don't know if I fully feel one way or another on this one, but I do think it's kind of lame that the Raptors benched all of their starters for like their only home preseason game. I guess they play at home against the Nets in the final preseason game. They were never playing all their guys in that game because no one ever plays in the final home preseason game. I don't know. You have 3 road games in Boston, Washington, and Sacramento to bench all your guys. Just bench them for all those. And like, look, devil's advocate case here is like, no one should ever be buying NBA preseason tickets, no matter the venue, expecting to see all of the main guys play heavy minutes because it's the preseason. And we should know by now that's just not how teams approach the preseason. But at the same time, like, sometimes preseason games are like what people can afford to go to. It might be their only opportunity to go to a game because of how ludicrously priced tickets are. And so, yeah, like, you've got visiting team games. Like, go bench your guys in Sacramento or Washington. Benching your guys in Sacramento at 10 p.m. on a Friday or Wednesday, whenever the hell they played that game, would have been totally fine. To do it on a Friday night in Toronto against the Celtics, I don't know, man. Just kind of lame to me. that said, glad those who were there got an entertaining game to watch one way or another, sloppy as it was. Would have been cool if they got to see Brandon Ingram, but what are you going to do? Again, don't feel too strongly one way or another, but just a little bit lame to me. Let's go to the to wrap things up. What you got for your
Well, just very quickly, I will say that at least the fans got to see plenty of Chris Boucher. A little mini return there, teasing. And he looked pretty damn good. He started off with that fadeaway over CMB and fun stuff. And I will say, if you haven't already, his Players Tribune piece is awesome. So if you haven't checked that out yet, make sure you go do that. In terms of my I am going to go back to something that we've already kind of discussed here, which is Gradey Dick's rebounding.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, if you look at the preseason numbers, Jonathan Mobo has the most offensive rebounds, leads the team so far. Number 2 on the list is Gradey Dick.
Hell yeah.
So, hey, I think he's got a good nose for the ball. I think he anticipates well. And, if that's something that he's identified as an area that he can legitimately be better at and contribute to the team, I think you'd want to see it on both ends. Obviously, you'll take the offensive rebounds and the extra possessions that come. But if he can do it on both ends, I think that'd be a big plus for the Raptors. So a little bit of a for me to watch for this season.
Yeah, I mean, to the earlier point of finding ways to mitigate his defensive deficiencies, like if he can crash the glass and prevent transition opportunities the other way, that's great. That's a helpful thing. And if you're going to have someone crash, I'd rather it be someone who maybe is not going to offer a whole lot of resistance going back in transition compared to some other guys. It's all right, dude. Like, do what's good for you. Good, do what you do best, and keep away from the things you don't do well. It's kind of like a super duper version of that. But just have Gradey play only in the offensive end of the floor, I guess is what I'm saying here. Get steals before half court, crash the offensive glass. You've got to worry about the on-ball stuff because he just never has to defend there.
You're saying that Gradey Dick is the key to Vivek Ranadive unlocking his 4-on-5 defense.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, and you can quote me on that. It goes back to Chucky Hepburn. Look, we do this a lot with end of roster guys in the preseason who pop. It's like, oh, maybe that guy's a guy. And most of the time, they're not a guy. My guess is that Chucky Hepburn is going to be a G League hand for most of this season. But would you say he is the leader in the clubhouse right now in the race for the 15th spot on the roster? AJ Lawson hasn't been terribly impactful in his minutes. Jared Rhoden's kicking around. Obviously, he hasn't really done a whole lot. You've got
threw a nice lob.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was all up in the steal on the final minute against the Celtics. Like, there's stuff that he does. Certainly, he's been around a couple of years now. They clearly like some stuff he brings to the table, but they could just not have a 15th guy as well. That's always a possibility, especially for a team flirting with the tax, or in the tax, I suppose. Where are you at with Chucky Hepburn and his whether or not he is in fact a leader in the clubhouse for that 15th spot?
Yeah, I think in some ways, almost by default, he is. I think generally you want to have that third string point guard. Sure. And so I do feel like when you look at the depth that the Raptors have at the wing positions, when you look at the quality of, the bigs and the gap between, say, Asar and Yak and Mamu, he's probably not going to figure into the equation. So it just kind of comes back to the point guard position. And I do think Chucky's showing with his minutes so far that it's like, hey, you need to pay attention to me and kind of whatever it is I've worked on. And yeah, if the shot continues to be real, then yeah, maybe there might be a conversation to be had.
Yeah, again, it's not like it's been a rousing competition. Big body Roddy not exactly doing a whole lot to stake a claim to the job, but it's nice to see a guy really show out. And hey, if this turns into an NBA, like proper NBA deal or a season in the NBA where you can get a foot in the door, fantastic for Chucky Hepburn. That'd be cool. And yeah, he kind of is exactly the kind of guard they like. Really, really annoying point of attack defender with a shoddy history of 3-point shooting. It's kind of exactly what they like. Although there is one season in his back catalog when you go back to his second year at Wisconsin where he shot 40% on 5 threes a game. So maybe there's something there in the jump shot that hasn't been able to fully shine through in college. More of a shooting track record than, say, Jamal Shed had coming in last year, for example. So we'll see. That's going to do it. Big V. We are almost through the preseason. Only 2 more of these things. And then we got real basketball next week. I'm very excited. We got our over-unders coming up very soon. That's going to be exciting. Bold predictions coming up on Friday with Joey Cash. That's always a fun episode as well. But do you have anything you want to promote for the good people out there, Big V?
Usual stuff. Raptors in 7. Doing work over at Sportscasting, so you can check that out. You can follow it all at Vivek M. Jacob.
We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for rocking with the podcast. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, join the Discord, sign on up for the watch party at Last Summer Books next week. If you haven't yet, the RSVP form is also in the description of the podcast. And we will talk to you tomorrow. Probably do a mailbag, actually. Get a little preseason mailbag action going. So if you have questions, shoot them on in the Discord, in the mailbag chat. Please do that. Talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging. Bye-bye. Damn it.